Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics. In this video, I'd like to move west, take a look at the Stormont elections in Northern Ireland as Sinn Féin make their predicted gains and the DUP continue to self-harm over the Brexit that they campaigned for. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. Also, link in the description below to Max Robespierre's channel, where I will be appearing in a live stream tomorrow morning. Sunday, that is, depending on which day you're watching this. So, anyway, Stormont. It's not gone well for the DUP. Results still coming in as I record this. Transferable voting is more representative, but it doesn't half keep you waiting. I had hoped to have virtually all the results by now. It's not happened. And at the point I'm doing this, you know, it looks like the DUP will be in second place. I mean, that seems now set, and Sinn Féin will be in first place. There was a little moment, the Alliance Party doing really well. There was a little moment when I thought, ooh, could they come second? But anyway, DUP, largest unionist party. Which brings me onto their madness. With Sinn Féin becoming the largest party in Northern Ireland, almost certain unless mad things happen, they have again called for a border poll in the next few years. Not for the first time, of course, but there might be an interesting test now. But I want to save that thought for later in the video because it may be influenced by what the DUP do next. Now, I've said it before, the DUP really are their own worst enemy. They campaigned for Brexit in the belief that it would split Northern Ireland off from the Republic of Ireland. You could only have believed this outcome if you had no understanding of international politics at all. If there was going to be divergence between the UK and the Republic of Ireland, that divergence was always going to be between Britain and Northern Ireland. It was the only sensible, legal and political way. And for those who still think the Northern Ireland Protocol breaches the Good Friday Agreement, all I can say is, where's your court judgment saying so? All the court cases against the protocol have been lost. So the DUP didn't get their hard border inside Ireland, but the protocol instead. But, and I've said this before, they should have embraced the protocol. I'm not saying should have been glad that it's here. There are issues with it as well. Of course there are. But given that it was a fait accompli, given that it was going to be here, they should have embraced it. Let's look at it strategically. What is it that unionists want? Well, they want to maintain Northern Ireland as part of the UK. That's it. Do they really need to drive a wedge between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland to do this? No. There's no rational reason for that at all. That is just ideological zealotry, bitter, twisted, sectarian hatred of the sort that will need to disappear before Northern Ireland can really be at peace. If I were in Northern Ireland, I'd be voting for the Alliance Party as a group that wants to govern, basically, for the interests of Northern Ireland. In other words, they want to be a political party. Not to defend or repudiate the actions of dickheads who died a long time ago. The focus for the DUP and other unionist parties should have been maintaining Northern Ireland's place in the Union. Strategically, that is it. That's the strategy. Madness to have ever supported Brexit. But now you're in this situation, it's happened, you've got this protocol. How do you spin it to help your cause? Because that's what they should have thought. They should have thought to themselves, this is here, how do we spin it to help our cause? And it's easy. The protocol means that businesses in Northern Ireland can freely export to Britain. And they can freely export to the single market. This is immense. Yes, they could do that before Brexit, but they can also do it after Brexit. And the only ones who can. Because they are now the only place in Europe that can do that. If you split off Northern Ireland from the single market, which is what the DUP want, you raise trade barriers with most of Europe. Why would you do that? It means a smaller economy and fewer jobs. Why would you do that? If you split off Northern Ireland from Britain, you raise trade barriers that way. Again, why would you do that? Same consequences. The Northern Ireland Protocol is a genuine Brexit win for any Northern Irish business that exports to anywhere in Europe. Anywhere in Europe. They also suffer no trade barriers to importing from the single market. Now, granted, there are some import barriers from Britain, but Brexit has to come at some cost, and Britain is a way smaller market than the rest of Europe, and also those trade barriers are nowhere near as bad as existing between Britain and the rest of the EU. Presented like that, reunification with Ireland represents economic peril for Northern Ireland. It's not a clinching argument against it, but there is that economic hit that comes with it. But do the DUP, and when it comes to it, the TUV, present it like that? No, they do the opposite. They try and wreck the thing that gives Northern Ireland this massive and unique advantage when selling its goods elsewhere. Clueless cretins. Because think about this. Let's say they got what they wanted, right? Let's say they got what they wanted. What they want is to raise massive trade barriers between Northern Ireland and most of the rest of Europe. That creates a huge economic cause for Northern Ireland reunifying with the rest of Ireland. Huge economic cause. Madness. And because of this, Sinn Féin are now the largest party in Northern Ireland, because the general population of Northern Ireland isn't as insane as the DUP. The DUP may have been fortunate to even hang on to second place. I mean, I say fortunate, it might not be. You know, the DUP are so stupid that they are going to use their position to harm themselves further and their cause. The DUP campaigned for these Stormont elections on a platform of domestic policies, right? Okay, that's what you do. That's what political parties do. They had this 5-point plan. Marvellous. However, it was all lies. And you may say, Phil, you're from Britain. You see the Tories lying in their election promises all the time. Yes, but the Tories don't actually admit to their lies during the campaign itself. They wait a couple of years. Because at the same time as the DUP were promising this 5-point plan, they were also promising to prevent Stormont being able to implement any new policies unless the Irish sea checks were stopped, even if they remained the largest party. So it's a bit like this. We're going to promise to implement these policies. Are you? No, actually, what we're going to do is promise to not implement any policies at all for anyone. So that's what they were doing. They were actually promising to make sure no policies of any kind were implemented in Stormont. Is it any bloody wonder they lost votes? And here's the thing. Where do they think their plan is going to go? They say they'll refuse to take their seats. So Stormont will limp on as a lame duck assembly. There are some that can still take their seats. Can't really do anything. You know, it'll also, if it carries on, it'll mean another election further down the line. That's half a year's time. Because after Sinn Féin collapsed the assembly for a while, a few years ago, the rules were changed to allow for new elections in the case of a deadlock, to try and prevent that happening again. Certainly not have the whole thing in mothballs for 3 years. And I still think it shouldn't be possible for a small minority of MLAs to cock-block the entire assembly. It should be a case, oh, you don't want to take your seats? All right then, see you later. Everyone else, the grown-ups in the room will just carry on. I don't know. The point is that one of two things happens now. One, the DUP don't follow through on their threats. That makes them look weak. Or two, they do follow through and there'll be new elections. Unless, of course, Boris Johnson falls completely. But then that'll get spicy in many, many ways. Many, many ways. But so let's say it carries on and there's new elections in Northern Ireland. How are people going to take that? People in Northern Ireland have got problems, like anywhere else. You know, many, yes, may vote on ideological lines, but they still expect the government to focus on the domestic situation. I cannot imagine that they would be best pleased to see their assembly prevented from doing its work because a group of dinosaur deniers are having a sulk. What do they think would happen at the next election? Do they seriously think that more people would vote for the party that is promising to prevent Stormont working? Why wouldn't more people vote for the parties who want to do their jobs instead? We could end up this year with a second Stormont election and the DUP beaten into third place and a smaller share of the vote for unionists in general, because that brings me back to that border poll that Sinn Féin want. Now, there is legal provision for the issuing of a border poll should it be considered that it might succeed in favour of reunification. As I understand it, those conditions are not well defined. However, I think it's fair to say that if we have an election where more people vote for nationalist parties than unionist parties, I think there might well be a case to take to court to decide, you know, what are the grounds here. Because this is how I see things. The DUP are idiots. As a result of their idiocy, they failed to present the protocol as a strong economic argument for Northern Ireland remaining in the UK. They've now missed that boat. It's too late, it's gone. They're on a fight to the death with it. This was and is very unwise. This idiocy now means that the Republican Party is the largest party in Stormont. Unionist parties still represent more of the first preference votes than nationalist parties as far as I can see from the results, but not by that much. But you trigger new elections later this year because the main unionist party is playing silly buggers and continues to promise playing silly buggers, and what then? You could actually get that next election returning more votes for nationalist party than unionist ones. Based on the first preference votes from this election, it wouldn't take that much either. And yet again, the DUP, with their undoubted supremacy of the art of political own goals, will have worked against their own cause. I mean, when people said in 2016 that Brexit would make the reunification of Ireland more likely, I don't even think they were taking into account the sheer stupidity of the DUP. If they had, they may have to have changed their assessment from more likely to almost certain. Just as Boris Johnson's Conservative and Unionist Party is conserving nothing and splitting apart the Union, the Democratic Unionist Party of Northern Ireland is attacking democracy by refusing to let Stormont function properly and breaking themselves off from the Union as well. Brexit yet again shows itself to be the beast that devours its own children, probably out of embarrassment at how stupid their children are. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button, maybe even click on the join button if you'd be interested in memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.